This is making me feel really uncomfortable. Not like it.
Oh,
I like it.
I like it.
I like it. I really, really like it.
What song is that?
I don't know. It just popped in.
Yeah? There was a song that actually went like that. It was, I like it. Oh, well, they took a part of it. It was part of a Mace song. Do you remember Mace?
Yeah, I do remember Mace.
You know, Mace has a podcast. It's really popular.
Really?
Now. Mace and Cameron. I don't know if you know who
Cameron. I'm sure I know Cameron is.
Yeah, Cameron.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both have a really famous podcast.
What do they talk about?
It's funny because they wear suits. And
Icons,
yeah,
yes.
and they just, I don't know what they really talk about because I haven't really caught it like that.
Oh
But
my
they
gosh.
they have a really popular podcast.
That song, Bad, 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 Bad Boys. You make me feel so good. You know you make me feel so good. My sister was a 90s like R&B kind of girl, my
Yeah.
older sister Tammy. So like that kind of stuff played in the house all the time, in her room at least. So
Do you feel like I feel like a lot of musical celebrities that have gone through it, like Michael Jackson, Chris Brown, R. Kelly, and now Diddy. With that, do you feel does it sully the music for you, or do you feel like it's still?
we kind of talked about this on one of our episodes. We talked about like that I'm a big Harry Potter fan and how it's controversial to say that I'm a big Harry Potter fan because of what happened with J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, that's right.
So I kind of feel similarly. Like, am I putting on like an R. Kelly song to listen to now? Probably not. But you know, it's just so hard. Like, how do you separate the memories that you have for this person while also holding them accountable for kind of like the things that they went through? And what kind of lessons can we take from the whole situation? You know, because I've seen the R. Kelly documentary and things of that nature. You know, Chris Brown, not really a fan of that because of what happened with him and Rihanna, you know?
Right.
But I think, you know, like the theme of our episodes lately that we've done together, it's like we're multifaceted people and we can hold space for certain things at the same time, you know. That yes, he may have done these things that were terrible to women, and as a feminist and someone who's like pro woman, you know, that's terrible. But also like this song reminds me of my sister, for instance, you know, growing up in the house together. So how do I not? It's hard.
You have memories connected
Yes.
with it. Let's talk about this. But first, let me introduce myself. How you doing? My name is John Jeremy, and this is the Quiet Coyote Podcast. Ow! I love that little coyote.
The best.
I'm gonna start this contest. Should I mention that now?
You should.
I
Why not?
Talk about it, guys.
Manifest
How you doing? We're gonna have a contest right here with this little coyote who's howling. We're going to have a contest with him. We don't have a name for this little coyote. So how about you guys start to comment, start to give me messages, start to just come up with some names, and then we'll come up, as you guys send us that, we'll come up with some ideas of like maybe a prize or something. You know,
Yeah.
that'll be cool.
Yeah, and it'll be the coyote call or whatever. You know, like,
Yeah.
he'll be named, right? So it'll
Yeah,
be nice.
he'll be named. We'll name
Yeah.
him. We have other contest ideas in the mix after talking with Jamie, but this will be the first one. So you guys think about it. Think about a cool little name for this little guy because he's so adorable.
Yeah, living his best life.
I love him so
His
much.
best nocturnal life.
Yeah. What do you think what's your definition of feminist when it comes to you? Because I hear a lot of different people have a different title for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your definition?
Yeah,
for you?
well, I came into like my feminism, I suppose, in college. You know, I went to SUNY New Paltz. It's a very progressive LGBTQ, like female, like multicultural kind of environment, which I loved. I grew up in Babylon, which is not like that. We
No?
had like 2 token black people in the school and
Really?
like stuff.
That's
yeah.
like West Islip.
Yeah. We called it White Islip. That's what it was called growing up.
We call it white slip.
White slip. Ooh, it's even better. White slip. I like it. I don't, but I like it. And so when I think about feminism, I think it's somebody. It doesn't have to be a female-bodied person. It's somebody who believes that all people should be treated the same.
Right.
That there's no difference between people based on their race or their gender or their sexual orientation or their able-bodiedness, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like that's my very general definition of feminism. But to get more specific for me, like I feel like, things are changing a little bit, but not really. That, the United States is kind of inherently like a male-dominated culture. And, like males are mostly the CEOs in this country. There's never been a female president. Like, do I think that's a coincidence or do I think that is a part of like, the oppression that women and other people that women have been through, and how it's just reflected in society right now.
Yeah, it's like a cultural thing, The funny part about it is I think I recently looked up and it said there's actually more women in the U.S. than men. like slightly more women.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that actually brings up a good just a thought thing that if there's more women, then why would these numbers be that other way?
Yeah.
You know, and it is to play devil's advocate. It does feminism. That was the same definition that I had heard about, that it was about equal rights. You know, so I'm all about equal rights, civil rights myself, and people that are against DEI and stuff like that, they actually feel the same way. So it's kind of, I don't know if it's ironic or whatever, because if feminism is about we're all equal, and then people that are like, we don't want DEI because we're all equal, right? And it's kind of like, well, y'all kind of saying the same thing, but it's maybe not the same thing. So that's why it's like too big for me to.
Can you help my
to
brain?
unfold.
DEI. What does that mean?
Diversity. What is it? I know the I is inclusion. Diversity.
I know diversity, equity,
equity,
inclusion. Yeah. Okay. I just never heard that phrase before.
DEI is like affirmative action.
Nice. Okay.
So some people now, we're talking about political stuff. Some people were like against that.
Yeah.
And then some people like were for it. So I guess it depends on like who you talk to and why. You know?
It's all from the individual person's lens, because you know, like a straight old white man, I'm assuming, is not going to be a fan of that, versus like, you know, someone who's coming from you know, a black or a Caribbean culture, who this is the first time they're going to college, for instance, the first person in their family, they want to change that generational trope of like, oh no, we don't go to college, you know, or that generational, you know, expectation, you know. So obviously that person has a different lens on the issue than somebody who is naturally a person of privilege because of how they were born. They had no control over that, just like this person had no control over how they were born, you know.
Yeah, no, it definitely goes into like the person's lens, like you said.
Yeah,
it's a lens thing, and then there's people that want to say that there's truth. So like, you know, there's people that say, no, this is the truth, and it doesn't matter how you view it, like this is the truth. And I think that it's not about what you say, but how you say it.
Isn't the truth kind of subjective too, to whatever your truth is?
But that's what the truth.
Yeah.
There's like so what it is for me is that there are certain things that are true, and then certain things that there's subjective truth and objective truth. So that's what it is for me. So that's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
That's all it is. It's very simple that there's an objective truth where it's like, no matter what you feel about it, this is objective. And then there's a subjective truth where it's like, oh, this is the truth for John. I think regular cheese Doritos, the classic Doritos, are the best chips.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
That's subjective.
Cool Ranch for life. Yeah.
You have Cool Ranch. I'm talking about the regular red bag.
So you're a red bag guy.
Yeah.
Good thing that there's so many other great qualities about you, John, because I don't know about the red bag people.
No, I used to be addicted to the blue bags for a while. Yeah. So like, you know, now now this is red versus blue, so this is a political thing.
Yeah, literally, we got political.
We got political. We got the Cool Ranch people, and then we got the regular classic cheese ones.
They like to have their fingers stained.
Yeah.
They like to have an impact, the red people, right?
I heard something on the news about that they were taking like red dye or something out of like our food processing thing. I wonder if that affects the Doritos.
Yeah, because it's more orangey, but the bag's red. Yeah, so.
Yeah. My second sponsor used to be very big about like, you know, oh, buddy, don't eat that. Do you know the dyes? And he was so concerned about the dyes.
Life is hard enough. Life is hard. I cannot be thinking about like, you know, like, yes, I'll eat a salad here and there, but I can't be thinking about like all these other things. Like my brain doesn't have space to microanalyze everything in my life. It doesn't enough.
Yes.
With things, you know? So I can't be thinking about the red food dye. The food dye.
I spoke about that a little bit in the last episode with Chris when he was on here, and like what happened was a buddy of mine cut off an account from a streaming platform because of some political stuff, and says, oh, like I'm not supporting it, and then asked everyone, are you gonna cancel yours? So the thing is that I told Chris, I was like, hey man, like if I cancel this, then I gotta cancel everything, because everything could be tied into like Walmart. There's a whole documentary of Walmart, like, you know, and how like I think they were using like labor, and like how they don't treat their workers well. A big thing. But like I still go to Walmart Or like, even Chick-fil-A, like if they don't support certain sexualities, it's like, all right, cool, then I won't go to Walmart, then I won't go to Chick-fil-A. But then it's like, oh, then I heard Target did this, then I heard that like Amazon did this, and then I heard Tesla. And it's like, I think it's like picking and choosing. Like you said
Yeah.
before, you said some people want to fight, and they should, because this is like, for me, in my own personal faith, biblical. It's like we have to protect and kind of fight for the disenfranchised, right? The ones that cannot defend themselves, or
Yeah.
like people that need to. But there's also that balance of like, well, at what point is it going to get to like where then I can't even leave my house, because
Yeah.
everything
Everything's
is
affected.
everything's affected,
Yeah.
and I can't, like, so for me it's God. It's simple. I just ask God to give me the wisdom and how to pursue, and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna go and be the best representative of, like, forget all this BS. If this person's hungry, hey dude, you hungry? Can I get you some food? I'm sorry that the food is from Walmart, right? Or
Because guess what? When you're starving, you don't care where the food is. So
Yeah.
you need someone like John who's like, I'm going to do what I have to do to help this person, regardless of what other people may think about it or whatever, like, controversy is around it, because like, we're just here to walk each other home, right? That's what Rumi says, and I love that quote, poem, whatever it is, that we're just here to walk each other home. So that's an example of like, well, if they're starving, I gotta go to Walmart and give them the food because that's what's available and that's what I can get for them right now. Like, you don't want people starving because you need to hem and haw, like, oh well, this is happening and that's happening, and it's just like, this world's, it's hard out there.
It's like cutting my nose to spite my face. So like if there was like a homeless gay person or a trans person outside of Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, you're hungry? Oh wait, we can't go to Chick-fil-A.
No, I can't get your food from here. Yeah.
That's like, come on.
Yeah.
At what point it's like, bro, just go do it. Like I can't. I'm not a represent. I can't do much, But I also am the type of person that tries to help to congregate with people that are trying to better things. But again, for me, that's subjective.
Yeah.
I'm subjectively choosing what is my fight to pick, if there is a fight. But I don't like to call it a fight. Because I think for me, again, God does the fighting. I just do the showing up of whatever that is.
I love that discussion of, like when I think about who I surrounded myself with like 10 years ago versus today, it's completely different kind of people, 10 years ago, I am, just getting to know myself again after breaking up with somebody I thought I was going to marry, and I just brought my place. John's been to my place. He's met my roommate Kimmy. We love Kimmy. And
Kimmy's the best.
Kimmy's the best. She's probably just sleeping on her couch. That's where I left her
she's
when I came over here. She's probably still there. And when I think about then, where like I wasn't a conscious being, like I was letting the world wreck me, like I love the analogy of like being a tree, and like I used to be like the leaf holding on to the branch so desperately because anything would like fall me off my cane. Anything affected me, versus now where I'm really the trunk and the root of the tree. I'm just trying to continue to see how I can ground myself in who I am and what I believe and the people that I surround myself with. Like if there's somebody who's a little weedy, like I need to just like look at that weed and be like, I don't know if this is really worth the effort to have this weed in my life, because it's going to affect my whole tree, So, we were talking a little bit about dating before we went on the podcast today. So like, when you're dating, and trying to meet people, it's like, I think it's really a test of my roots of like, okay, let's see how much of a sober, recovered spiritual person I can be in a relationship with somebody else who I can't control that person at all. I can just share who I am and share my truth and share who I'm being in the world. And hopefully, in theory, the right people will be attracted to me. And every time I'm dating somebody, it's getting closer to what I'm actually looking for. And I love that about the journey. It's frustrating sometimes, but I love that about a journey. Every encounter I have with somebody in like a dating kind of situation is bringing me closer to the person that I want to be and the person that I want to be with,
No, yeah, I'm glad that you brought it up, because I wanted to segue into the dating thing, because we did talk about the dating stuff. I was a wreck back then. I was like such a wreck when it came to like when I look back even last year.
Yeah.
And where I'm at this year, like I see that I'm still a wreck. I'll be honest, like I could be honest like right now, but like I'm discovering as I'm going through more step work. I'm part of 12-step programs, and like I am realizing that I'm opening up like these I'm becoming a different person. Like I have a lot of traumas. Like I'm going back into this part of my recovery, and like I have like one large amends that I have to make, which is like I don't know if I can do. I mean, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna attempt it, but it's so traumatic. It is like it is probably the it. You know, like it.
I have an it right now, honestly,
Like
that I'm working on too. So
the whole one that could like this whole one that probably stems from why like a big part of why I am how I am.
Yeah.
And once I face it, once the big one, and I'm sure there's other ones, but like this is the only one I know of and I could see. Like once this big one is like either attempted or I face it, I think I'm pretty sure I like have very high confidence I'm gonna be a whole different person after this.
And it's about the effort, not the outcome, right? We say that, and then like the effort feels so. Gosh darn, not ducking it. Gosh darn, because I love the duck when we curse here. But it's so, the effort is so gosh darn exhausting. The effort to especially if you're in a recovery or a spiritual path, like the effort to continue like digging. Like my nails are broken. I can't see anything. I can't breathe underneath here sometimes. And when you're really going, but the only way out is through.
Yes.
And the way through is not for the faint of heart. But if we believe in a higher power, universe, situation, God, whatever you want to call it, if we believe that they're never going to steer us wrong, that they are the one technically in control, we're just here to kind of like, move along, ask for help, trust our intuition, move along, we know that there's going to be something great on the other side. And I know there's going to be something great on the other side for you. It's just the getting there is really takes years.
No,
It can take forever, you never know.
I needed it too. I couldn't handle this 12 years ago.
Oh no, you probably could have crashed out. And who knows what could have happened 12 years ago when you were just in recovery.
It's one of these. It's traumatic. It's super traumatic for me. So like, it's one of those traumatic things that since I'm not ready to handle that or ready to do that, like, and I don't push anyone to ever do that.
No.
I'm not a doctor. I am not like anything like that. So I definitely work the best I can with the person, but like tell them get a higher power. Like you said, the higher power is in control. I look at it as like it says in some 12-step literature that they're the director. So so God for me is he tells me what's the word? Like he's in charge. You know how they had that show Charles in Charge?
Yeah.
Like God's
in charge.
Yeah. God's in charge.
I have two thoughts. My first thought is my higher power, the way that I am envisioning it these days, because it is always evolving,
That's cool.
My higher power is it's my coach. It's my coach.
Yes.
My coach on my team,
Yeah.
My coach has much more talent and skill than I do, and it is just showing me, the skills and the plays that he thinks will work for me. And then it's my choice. It's my choice how I perform.
Yes.
If I miss the ball or if I, bunt it. I don't know why softball is the analogy, probably because my niece is playing softball this year. It's like, I'm only in control of my effort. And I can certainly ignore my higher power's advice, and just do my own thing. But then sometimes I'll work, but sometimes it won't. And when it doesn't work, it doesn't feel good, like really bad. So that's my first thought about my higher power, how I see it now. But then my next thought was for you on this conversation. It's like when you're doing this kind of work, like what do you do to take care of yourself and to soothe yourself? Because it's hard working through some traumatic issues is challenging, So I'm just curious, like, especially for our listeners, what kind of things do you do to take care of yourself when you're going through this kind of process?
Yeah, no, I mean, I got a lot of things that hinder me from being able to get through these things that I go through. And I was wondering, like, between today at my church and today with the reading from my Bible, like, before all that was coming this, like, I wasn't sure just about God and God's will and how do I, where do I play, in fact, myself into this stuff. And, like, today, like, the whole theme we were talking about after church, I was talking about, like, obedience. Which is not like an attractive word, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't like obedience, but some people love the word obedience. So it depends on what school you come from. But
loyal, obedient, direction follower. I mean, there's all sorts of different words that don't sound. Disciplined, yeah.
All those. I mean, I like obedience now. So that's why I said, like, when I say God's in charge, it kind of like takes a lot of the decision making away from me. Because if God's in charge, I don't have to decide I could tell myself, I don't have a choice. I have to help this person whether I want to or not. You know what I'm saying? Because even I remember a sponsee telling me like, well, I told him, I was like, call me, and if you want to talk and do this, call me every day. If you feel like, and then he came at me not calling me. And then he said that he blamed me. For him not calling, he blamed me, and he was just saying, well, you said if I wanted to, and like I didn't think it was like a necessary thing, and like so because he had the choice to call me or not, he took that as like oh well, I don't have to. So
It's
like
a permission slip to like
Yeah.
have my will. Yeah.
So for
my
me-
will doesn't want to call you.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
for me, it's like saying God's in charge took away the ability to say. Kind of like my sponsor today is kind of like when I got mad and I said I was like I got so angry. I said if I see this other person, I don't know if I could stop myself from like if they attack me, I'm gonna fight them. And he was like, John, he's like first of all, welcome them, say hi to them, blah blah blah. But then he said, John, you just don't have the luxury anymore. And when he said I don't have that luxury, that reminds me of God saying, sorry, bud, like you don't have a choice. You don't. If you say that you love me, then you don't have that choice. And the fact that it's kind of like I don't have a choice, how do I take care of myself during that? How does John honor himself? How does John, it's kind of like in the Bible where Jesus said, they asked Jesus, right? They want always trying to trap Jesus. They're always trying to trick him. And they were like, well, tell us then what's the greatest law? Please tell us what's the law that's going to get us into heaven? What is this one law, not out of all the laws? And he says, all right. He says, I tell you the truth. He says, first, he says, love God with all your mind, heart, strength, and spirit or soul, right? He goes, and then he says, love your neighbor the way you love yourself. So on the totem pole, who's the last person?
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that and equate it to recovery when it comes to amends. A lot of people say, put yourself first on the list because you're the first person you should make amends to. Where I heard someone say, put yourself last on the list because by the time you do all the amends and you get to yourself, you've already made amends to yourself because you did all that work to get to you. And that's where I think Jesus is saying, you want to love yourself? You love God with all your mind, what you see, what you watch, be careful with who you hang out with, stuff like that, right? All that, protect it, give it to God. Then you have to love your neighbor the way you love yourself. But like if I say I'm gonna love myself and then I love y'all second, how do I love them? How do I love myself by not loving them first in that aspect? Flip it. Like it's like recovery has always been about flipping it. And I think for me, like I can take care of myself by sometimes sacrificing my time, by sometimes pushing myself a little more. Obedience. Sometimes it's like, I don't want to help this person. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm laying down on my couch. No, I just want to go get my Taco Bell and just chill at home, which I did yesterday.
Yes.
Which is fine because I was really tired. I don't have the energy. And that was awesome. Yesterday I took off. I didn't pick up the phone for anybody, put the do not disturb. I rested. I did all that stuff. But the balance for me is to make sure that I do keep other people in mind. Like I was praying for people. I was like putting. So like for me, how do I take care of myself is by seeing how everyone else is, because by taking care of other people, like I'm taking care of myself.
I love that.
Yeah, that's just for me. And
Okay,
I found that I
podcast
found
is over. That was your
done. You're
that
done
was
with
your lesson
that.
for today.
Yeah, and I like how everyone's different. So it's always been paradoxical. Recovery has always been paradoxical. It says to keep it, you have to give it away.
Which doesn't make sense to the lay person.
Yeah. So like with the relationship stuff, I found that like, at least for me, and my point of my recovery was that like, I'm telling myself like, whenever I'm like, oh, they don't want to make time for me. They're ignoring me. They're this. And it's like, I'm in a point where God has been blessing me. Like he's like, cut it out. Cut it out. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're doing. Let's put it this way. If I'm only in a relationship or I like somebody and they're just too whatever, and I'm just like, well, this is not working for me. Like, I feel like, it's going to be conditional. And I'm never going to be in a relationship.
And dating should not be conditional.
It shouldn't be conditional.
It shouldn't be tit for tat,
You're working to be the, where you minister and you're able to marry people, right?
Soon.
soon.
Hopefully after February.
So hopefully
I would love for you to come to my graduation. Actually, it's my ordination. So
Yeah, me or everybody.
if you'd like to come, you're all invited. But specifically, like John. John is like one of my most spiritual friends. He's one of my best friends. You know, we've been through a lot together over the last 6.5 years. And when I think about relationships aren't about what you get from them. I think that's a beautiful lesson. It took me a long time to learn. It's not about what I get from somebody, although I love getting compliments, whatever. But relationship is about like, how can I be myself and vulnerable and real and free, and how is that going to align with somebody else, and can they meet me there? I think that's so important. I believe all relationships, whether they're romantic or not, are about learning and growing. And if you're not learning and growing, then like it might be something to think about. Like, look at that relationship. Like, what is it? Why is it here? Why is it here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of my friends, it's funny because one of my friends just had a breakup and said that they broke up because they didn't feel inspired in a relationship, which I understand.
Ooh.
And it's really difficult. Again, biblically speaking, they said that like you shouldn't get a divorce unless there's like infidelity. And I believe if you hurt each other, that's a cause of like infidelity, because you're cheating on yourself by hurting someone else. So like there's definitely many reasons why, but the reason I brought up your ministry about like marrying people is because it says through sickness and health, through well and bad, right? So it's kind of
in the way that I'm learning how to be an interfaith minister is we are focused on people, not theologies. So when we're marrying somebody, their vows are their vows. Whatever they want it to be. Do they want it to be a Christian faith? Do they want it to be an Islamic faith? Do they want like it's about creating this ritual and this important moment together versus like deferring to like reverend or whoever, like, oh, you just figure it out, and I feel like when you do that, like when you really make people a part of the process, it is more organic and more love filled, and I would hope it would lead to, a gorgeous day for them that can transcend them into the rest of their life. And today we went to a mosque. I've had a wonderful date last night. Went to a mosque today. I live a life now. 30-year-old Jamie would be like, who is this woman? And today actually we learned from Huma, her name was, and she's wonderful. I can't wait to see her again. She's like a literal ray of sunshine. And she was talking about in Islam how, when people are looking to divorce, they go to like a counselor, whether it's the imam or whoever, like once every 3 months to see if there's reconciliation. Is it something to do? There's no judgment for divorce in Islam, which I'm like, what? Like, because I feel like every religion judges divorce. It's like, like I said, through sickness and health, through good and bad or whatever. So the fact that like I'm able to like learn these new things about other religions and other faiths that I had no idea about, and to be able to be like, wow, like people are multifaceted, and that there are options out there for people. It's been really, really cool.
I didn't know that was a Christian thing, the sickness and health. That's a Christian thing?
Yeah. When I think about, what's up, duck?
Yeah, what's that?
Mother ducker. When I think about, that's a very much like a Roman Catholic Christian kind of like
But
way.
is it?
Is
it only?
I don't know if it's only, but I know from my experience being a Roman Catholic, like that's like that's the vows that they do.
I thought that was like a state vow thing, or like I just thought it was a thing.
I don't know. It could be.
I thought you go to court and they read that.
We don't know anything, so don't listen to us anymore. Turn off the podcast.
That's so funny. No, because a buddy of mine, when I said God, like that I was sponsoring him, he said that like. He thought Christianity. That's the first thought that came to his head. And I was like, I never thought of God as a word, because there was Zeus, who was the god of thunder or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I never thought of the word God as being a Christian thing, but he took it as Christian. So the same thing, like you took the
I took what you asked me. I was like, oh, isn't that just a Christian thing?
No. I don't know. I never even thought it was a Christian thing. I thought it was just vows that they make, and I think in a way that, your friend or the woman that was showing you, she said it needs to be some grounds for divorce. So she's actually asking questions, like you said, the reconciliation. So there is judgment. It's not a bad thing. They're judging to see whether it's it's valid for this divorce.
Yeah.
Right? The
I don't know if
validity.
there's like a judgment part of it. We really.
I mean,
didn't get-
judging meaning
Yeah.
you have to determine, so you have to judge whether this is a good reason or a bad reason.
It's not like, okay, cool, you guys want to get divorced,
Yeah.
let's go right now. It's like, let's have some time of reflection and
Yes.
contemplation, like Stranger
Yeah.
Things, like coffee and contemplation, you know,
Yeah.
before you move forward in that process, you know, and I think
Yeah.
that is a great thing, you know, and there's also like, I think a period where kind of like with like Christians where like in a certain period you can get an annulment without having to go through the whole hoopla of divorce. I think there's a similar practice in Islam as well we learned today. So that was cool.
Yeah. So that's an annulment or divorce in Islam?
I don't know what they called it, if it's called an annulment, but like that I equated when I was listening to an annulment. Like there's also that kind of process as well. But like, you know, it's just like really cool to realize like the God thing, you know, like we were talking about that in class today. And we were talking about with God that, you know, when you think about God, it's ingrained in you. It's ingrained in you in this society that God is someone that is judging, and God is someone that will punish you, quote unquote, for doing the wrong thing. And that might not be my personal belief, but you know, it's in God we trust. And God we trust is on the dollar bill. And God we trust is behind the judges. It's on the coin. Like it is the idea that there is this like thing, this powerful being outside of you that's watching you and that is judging what you do and how that's going to get you to the afterlife. And even if you're not a religious person, that's already ingrained in you because you're a part of the society. You know, so I thought it was an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how, again, me and Jamie, like, we've been friends for a while, but I think we think differently.
Yeah,
like, a
that's why it's
lot of
great.
things. Me and you think so differently because I feel like you take... I see it as great. In God, we trust. I think it's a beautiful thing. It's saying, in God, we trust. But you,
and I came from
you,
like a...
And you look at it like... he's a judgmental person that's coming. He's judging, and it's like, it just said we trust in God. And it's like, no, it says that we're... Like, he's going to judge, like, you know, this whole thing. And it's like... All right, so when you know, and this is nothing against you.
No.
This is my general. When there's a whole genocide going on or people are killing people, we want justice.
Yeah.
And with justice comes judgment. Judgment and justice, right?
Yeah.
So we want judgment. We want judgment. As much as people say, I don't want God to judge me. I don't want God to tell me what to do. I don't need a God to direct my life. It's like, fine. So that means anyone can hurt anybody. Anybody can do whatever they want, and nobody gets what's coming to them. Unless I do it, then that's going to be a dangerous and exhausting thing.
Yeah.
That's why it's like better like that. Like it's left out of our hands, but we're also given the responsibility to again ask for direction of like, how do I handle this situation, this person that is like, you know, they're coming directly at me, they want to hurt me, or they're like, I feel hurt by the actions that are happening, like what should I do? And then that's that
it's like we have God, we have religion, but we also have the government, right? And like there's a justice process with the government. There's justice, you know, the judge, whatever, the judge is the justice. So it's like this juxtaposition between like God and God being like the overseer, you know, and then or a judge being the overseer. And where does that leave people? Which I would love one day if you can have somebody on here for a conversation about like you know, being agnostic or about being atheist. I think that would be a really cool conversation to be like, well, then where do those people fall? You know, there's no, you know, God or judge or whatever. And like, what about the people who are atheists or agnostic or who don't know what their faith is yet? Like, where do they kind of stand in this kind of conversation, you know?
About
judgment, about like how do we, you know, address the injustices of the world, because there's so many injustices in the world going on right now even, you know, and like, you know, about like morality and like who makes a decision of like what morals are and what the standards are to exist in this society, for instance. I think that'd be a really cool conversation to have, you know, with someone who's atheist or agnostic, because like, you know, back in the indigenous days, you know, like before all this stuff happened and there was no written word about religion or spirituality or whatever, you know, like the people relied on the land to take care of them, you know, on like, oh, well, we know that the sun rises and sets at this time, and we know that this happens at this time of year and that happens at that time of year. So back in the day before there was written religion, like they were able to like, you know, like work their system. You know,
let me ask you a question. So you're saying there was a whole society of atheists or agnostics?
I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying that there was a way of life back before there was like written religion, where the people were able to maintain their society and maintain their livelihood and work together as a team.
But minus God.
But minus God, exactly. So
That's
it's
what I'm
interesting.
saying. No, that's what I'm saying. I never thought about a whole society that, because as far as since man came, since man was, I mean, like when you said that work the land, I was just thinking of the indigenous people of the United States. So the indigenous people found spirituality in everything. So there was there was great spirits. There's over 350 million Hindu gods. So I don't know any society that was like agnostic or atheist, but I want to look that up now. As far as I know,
curious. Yeah, I don't know any either.
Like even I'm thinking the Mongolians, they had like a higher power, if I'm not mistaken. I would love to I got to look into that. I want to see, because both of my sponsors are agnostics, believe it or not. Like I had great conversations with like Colin, who's an atheist.
Colin,
I have another friend who's atheist. I speak a lot with. I like speaking with atheists and agnostic peoples, but I've done so much my own listening to researchers and stuff like that, and I remember one guy saying that like with atheism is kind of like Christianity. He said that like Dawkins, like he was a famous atheist and wrote books. He goes, but he's not. They was saying like he's not the spokesman.
Yeah.
There's no spokesman for Christianity.
That's a dangerous thing to even think
anymore than
that,
there's no spokesman of atheism. So like we may have a guest that only. That's why I told you about the other woman who said like that she was speaking about some faith. I forgot if it was Hinduism or something. But like as well versed as we are, even Pastor Stephen will say he's not the spokesman of Christianity.
No, this is just his experience.
I'm not the spokesman of Christianity.
I'm not the spokesman for anything.
yeah, exactly. But like,
except for my own experience. That's
exactly. So it'd be very interesting to find out about. Everyone just has a faith, but within their faiths, there's sects within their faith, which is like a really cool thing to think about. But no, yeah, for sure. I just want to end it off with more like I would hope. The reason why I like through sickness or health, through that like, I don't know about you. Would you, so you'll be okay with dating someone that says that if you get sick, that they can bail because it's too much for them, because they have to honor themselves. That's okay with you if you.
I'm not necessarily saying that.
If you lost your job and you couldn't work in your thing, or you're in a wheelchair, something happened.
Something happens,
and the person's just like, I love you, Jamie, but like. This is too much for me, and I gotta honor myself, and I have to. Like, I mean, is that someone that you're hoping to meet someday that would?
I guess my thoughts are that like I would hope that, God forbid, something like that happened, and I am dating someone, or I'm married to someone at that point, or whatever. Yes, in sickness and health, I would love that to be, an idea. But I think that being in a relationship is about being in hard conversations, like. Often, about things like this. Like, God forbid, like, what if I got cancer and it was really debilitating? Like, let's talk about that. Let's talk about morality. Let's talk about mortality. Like, how is that? How are we feeling about this? If I get really, really sick, like, are you feel like you're going to want to be with me because you feel obligated, or you want to be with me because you really want to see this through together? Like, like having hard conversations versus like, oh well, you got a cold, like I'm bailing, like peace out. I think that everything is worth a conversation, and I'm in my era of life where I really want to have conversations with people, especially when I'm dating, about like just being real and honest, being like calling myself out all the time. We call it exposure when we're kind of like.
Do you think just having a conversation about it, because it has to meet the acid test. So if you meet someone and say, I will never leave you, I'm going to be there no matter what. I don't care about money, Jamie. I don't care about that. And then like when it really happens, and then they're like, I thought I could do this, Jamie. I really, all my heart wanted to do it. But like, you in this wheelchair, like I can't, or you have cancer, like I really can't. And like, you see that they're really sincerely like not able to handle it. But that hurts. You got to admit.
Of course it hurts.
You got to admit that like that hurts. And
8,000%. It'll probably be the most painful thing outside of like getting cancer. I can't believe we're even talking about this, like manifesting cancer. I don't want my cancer.
No. I'm just saying, and not to knock anybody that does that, but like I know a guy personally who actually helped me. I remember sharing at a meeting once, and I said, I didn't have a job, and this old man, I said, no, I'm having lack of work, if anybody knows any extra work, so I had a job, but we didn't have a lot of work. And he met me after the meeting. He's like, I need some work done in my house. So I went to his house, and I was doing, he gave me like 3 or 4 days, and he would pay me cash.
Yeah.
And when I went to his house, this old man who had many years of recovery, 3 decades. Later on, I found out that like he didn't really need me to do it. He just made up jobs just so he can give me money because he couldn't just give me money. That's amazing.
That's
Secondly,
beautiful. Yeah.
a nurse would come to his house every freaking day and take care of his wife because something happened years ago and his wife went nuts and she like jumped out of the second story window and she ended up being paralyzed. And he has her in the other room and the nurse comes and he stayed with his wife. And I don't know what anybody calls love. I don't know what anyone's definition of love.
Yeah.
But my love, that's what I don't care about your words. I care about more of like that love that he manifested for her. I'm not even looking to get that back. I want to be that for someone.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Do you understand?
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I think I'll conclude my thought on this before, if you want to talk about Meow Wolf, because that's the whole point of me coming on here. But this is why this is so beautiful, that we can just kind of spitball. I guess, like, this kind of goes back to our beginning of our conversation about God. It's like, I need to be okay with myself no matter what happens around me. So no matter what happens around me or inside me, I need to be okay with myself and have that relationship with myself and with my higher power. So, like, God forbid, I don't want anything to happen in the last 5 minutes that we talked about, but it's really would be like a true test of my faith. Of like, am I going to be okay under any circumstances?
Yes.
And that's why I need to maintain a contact with my higher power that I call the universe, and I need to make sure that I'm okay so that I can withstand any sort of storm that comes my way. Of course, I would love someone to stay with me forever, no matter what, even if I'm a vegetable. But I also, need to realize that, like, if I'm not okay inside of myself and stable inside of myself, nothing is going to satisfy me, including someone staying with me until I'm, a vegetable. So
and that's the answer, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do I love myself? Love God with all your mind,
Look at
heart,
this.
soul, spirit, which you have said right there. Because the other way would be codependency, right?
Yeah.
If I rely, my whole thing would be like, you leaving me when I'm like this? It's like, I've already made that with myself.
Yeah.
And then now you love them still. I don't have to hate them. It's like, all right, do what you have to do for you. I still love you. And when Jesus was getting crucified, he actually prayed on the cross and he said, God, forgive them for they know not what they do.
Yep.
So that means like my people that hurt me like that deep hurt, I could say, you know what? I still love you, but whatever you need, because I'm good. I'm
so grateful for all the poopy things that I went through with people, especially in relationships. I'm so gosh darn grateful for it now because it turned me into the woman I am today and who I want to be in the world. And I would go through it again if I knew that this was going to be the result,
Yeah. And I could say right now that like I love everyone I was in a relationship with, whether they love me. I like have deep love for all of them. I wish nothing but the best. I hope that they're married and have kids or whatever. Like whatever they needed in their life, I really do have no animosity towards any of them. And I think that's a testimony of the recovery and God working through recovery. And you guys,
who wants to be resentful towards someone you're not in a relationship with anymore? Like who wants to do that? Do you want to stay changed? I don't want to be stay changed. So
go the extra step and say that I actually love them. I hope that they're doing well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So all right. Well, we're going to talk about. You want to talk about Meow Wolf
for like 1 minute?
All right, go ahead. Let's do it.
Well, John wanted me to come on because I know a couple episodes ago John talked about Meow Wolf and actually went to it, and I sent John some pictures that he'll probably be putting here in a moment of my experience at Meow Wolf. So if y'all haven't been to Meow Wolf, it's like you're like on an acid trip without being on acid, pretty much.
What is it, first of all?
It's like this giant warehouse interactive experience where there's like multiple floors and it's just like this wacky world, of like things to see and touch and do. You can play music in there. One of my favorite rooms had this like gorgeous woman, like made out of like crystal, looks like, and she has this flowing hair cascading down the side, and it was just like a beautiful spiritual experience looking at this like man-made thing, and it's like weird and trippy, and there's like food and drinks in there and stuff, and you can literally be in there for hours and get completely lost and immersed in this kind of world and take really fun photos, and things like that, and really have a great memory. I went to the one in Denver with my 2 best friends from college when we were out there, because before I went there, Meow Wolf found me on Instagram, and I was like, Jen, can we go to this thing? And they're like, yeah, let's do that. So we had a really fun time doing that, and then we went out for Israeli food afterwards, and it was delicious.
Oh shoot! I don't think I've had Israeli food, so that's something to look forward to. Who are your friends? You want to give them a shout out?
To Jen and Meg, and also the dogs that we visited.
Woo! And the dogs.
I'm blanking on the names right now. Jackson, Ellie, and Tuna, who is not a tuna, it's a dog.
That's awesome. I love that you have a great memory.
Yeah.
So do you think that the Crystal Woman was your favorite part of it, or what's your favorite part of the whole?
I think the Crystal Woman was my favorite part just because it's such a striking image, and I think more importantly, it's like the joy that me and my friends felt just walking through this like magical place of like making this memory of like I'm probably never gonna go back again because I don't live in Denver, but like we were able to like look at things and interact together and laugh and have fun and take silly photos, and there's nothing better than like experiencing something new with your friends.
Yeah, they have a few locations too. So wherever, if you go to Santa Fe, you go to wherever. Yeah, they have a few locations.
Awesome.
And I think they're all different.
Yes.
So you'll be able to, you'll be able to.
This was very like spacey, like galactic, like another world. Like, that was kind of the theme overall.
Was it expensive?
It was like $35, I want to say.
Oh, that's great.
And you literally can be in there for hours. Like, there's no time limit.
I was going to ask you, how long was it?
We could have been there for a long time, but we were there for like about an hour and a half, and then we were starving, and like we were on New York time. So Jen was like, "Oh, I have a reservation for like 8," and I'm like, "Oh, so 10 p.m. New York time." I'm very excited to eat dinner at 10 p.m., but it was worth it.
I
was
need
so
to
good.
eat my food right now.
I need to eat at like 4 p.m.
Yes.
Because the earlier you have dinner, the more snacks you get.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then she's all about snacks and treats.
Snacking
and treats.
Snacking and treats.
So that's really awesome. So we talked about some political stuff, the controversy of Cool Ranch versus regular Doritos.
Cool Ranch wins.
We talked about marriage and vows and beliefs and faith, and then we ended with Meow Wolf.
Yep. Sounds like a very good episode.
This is a really good episode.
It was fun.
Thank you, Jamie, for coming back. And I want Jamie to come on. Hopefully, if I can work it out, we'll have a New Year's Eve episode.
Oh my God, I can't wait to dress up. We're dressing up,
Let's
y'all.
dress up for New Year's Eve and then have everybody here. Everybody that's been on a couple of times can come and be on our episode. But we'll have you back again, so that's really cool.
I always love coming back. Thank you for always having me.
And Angel, we miss you. Angel's
miss you
on
right
a
here.
Date. Angel's dating right now.
Yeah, Angel's at brunch.
Right
Living
now,
the best
Angel's
life.
replaced with Casper. Say hi, Casper.
Hello.
That's scary.
Did you hear that?
All right, what are your parting words?
My parting words are just keep digging. Keep learning more about yourself and the world around you and the people around you, and you'll get to discover new things.
It kind of reminded me of Dora. Oh, is it Dora or
Dory?
Dory.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
That's it.
Just keep digging.
Just keep digging. What do we do?
All right. So today, you know what? My thought of the day is I'm gonna go hug somebody. Make
Yes.
sure it's consensual. Ask permission, but say, hey, is it okay if I give you a hug? You hug them. And just nice to hug people.
And insider tidbit about that: if you hug for 20 seconds, it releases the good feelings in your brain. The endorphins.
Release all those endorphins. All right, y'all. We love you very much, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace out.
So what's your podcast about?
Okay, this is making me feel really uncomfortable. Not like it. Is my mic on? Okay. Well then, let's go.